Hey guys, Metal Jesus here, and I am back again with a review of a different kind today. As you can see on the screen here, this is the Sega Classics, but it's a little bit different than normal because this is actually for the Amazon Fire TV. Now, I want to tell you a little story about this though first. See, I was approached by Sega of America's marketing department to do this review, but they were extremely excited about this, so much so that they actually had an embargo where nobody was allowed to talk about it before it was released. And I gotta be honest with you, because I was like, well, what's the big deal? I mean, this isn't the first time that Sega has released a compilation of all these classic games before. But then I started reading some of the marketing material included, and it said, no console required. That little phrase right there was like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing here. Now, this may not seem like a big deal to you or I potentially. However, to big publishers, this could be a big deal going forward. I mean, think about it. What if Capcom, Namco, Atari, heaven forbid even Sony started releasing their classic game collections, not for a specific console? They would certainly continue to do that, but actually as something that you could download on a brand new smart HD television. I could definitely see that happening. So that's what this is. This is an app that you buy in the Amazon store for your Fire TV. You do it through the App Store. It costs $15, comes with 25 classic games, but again, no console required. Now, for those of you that don't know, here's what I'm using. This is a Fire TV Stick 4K. This is the most current version as of about October. And basically, this is a really small computer that has an HDMI output. So it basically brings all of Amazon Prime's content on this little computer, and you can plug it into anything that has an HDMI input. And by the way, I want to let you know that Sega's marketing department did send me this for the review. However, nobody's paying me for the review. They're not reviewing the content before it goes live. First, let's talk about the games that are included in this collection here. So you have 25 games, like I mentioned previously, and it's a mix of a lot of the games you would expect that came out on the Sega Genesis and really helped define that console. A couple things of note, you'll see that they have Sonic Remasters on here. Now, these are the Christian Whitehead remakes that were done just a couple years ago that are absolutely fantastic and pretty much universally praised. Some other options most of these games have, including graphic options like classic, smoothing, and also scan lines. You can also change the resolution from 3x4 to pixel perfect. And if you want to change up the border art, well, you can do that too. And it's pretty nice that each game also includes the ability to do a snapshot or save pretty much anywhere you want. And the games themselves seem to run just fine. I mean, I messed around with about a dozen of them or so, and didn't really run into any graphic issues or sound issues, which is kind of what you would expect from a brand new Fire TV device. I mean, this should be more than enough powerful to run these older games just fine. However, the Amazon Fire TV is pretty much designed to play television shows, and so most of you will simply just have the remote. Well, how does that work when controlling the games? The way that this Sega Classics compilation handles that is to take that remote and almost act like the Wii did, where you just turn it on its side. However, it is not like the Wii because it's not very good. It's passable. So on the screen here, you're seeing exactly how the buttons are configured. And then here's some gameplay of me playing the games using this remote turned to its side. But I gotta be completely honest with you, that remote is not designed to be an arcade controller like you would need or maybe you would expect. It's funky at best and frustrating, well, at worst. The main problem is obvious, is that circle there that you use to navigate through the menus, well, turned on its side is trying to emulate a D-pad, and it just does not want to do that. I mean, you're not supposed to rest your thumb like that because it just doesn't feel right. It's got that big button in the center. You should be able to roll your thumb back and forth, up and down, you know, like you would need to in a game. And with the remote, it just, I mean, again, it's passable. It does technically work, but it's not very fun to play with. What's funny is that I think Sega anticipated me complaining about this because in the box that they sent, they also included this third-party Bluetooth controller. And with this hooked up to the Fire TV, then suddenly these games are much more playable, much more enjoyable. So, do I recommend this to people? Ah, man, that's really hard to say because I think most people watching this video and watching my channel probably already have a compilation like this in their collection. I mean, the Switch version just came out, you know, recently, and it has double the games and also double the price, let's be honest here. But there are a lot of ways to play these games already. But what I think is really interesting about this product is kind of what I mentioned, is that this is kind of the first step for Sega and potentially other publishers to start putting their games directly on smart TVs. That to me is actually pretty interesting going forward. I mean, I think it makes total sense. You know, Sony tried it probably, well, gosh, when was that? It was like 5-10 years ago, something like that, when they had a PlayStation 2 built into one of their televisions. And so you can see publishers probably wanting to do something like this going forward, and I think it's smart. But again, like I pointed out in this video, the killer for all this is going to be the controller. These television remotes, in general, are not designed to play arcade-style video games like this. And yeah, you know, everyone's pretty much got a Bluetooth controller, or they can get one for relatively inexpensive. But it's something that you have to consider if you're going to jump in here, because I don't think playing this with just the remote is the way to go. So at the end here, I'm kind of curious. I mean, what do you guys think about this future of big publishers putting out these compilations directly to your television? Either it's a Apple TV or a Fire TV, or maybe it's like an Android OS built into your 65-inch television. I mean, to me, it seems like the future, but I'd love to know what you guys think down below. As always, guys, I want to thank you for watching my channel. Thank you for subscribing, and take care.